Ahoy there, Gwent fans, and happy Gwensday! I'm Dead Broke Nerd, and I'm here with a new Gwent deck. Per the usual, it is monsters, although I have some other decks and other factions cooking, I promise. I'm really hoping to be doing a Gwent video every Wednesday from here on out, so since I have been relocating a bit of my time, but not all of it, away from Elder Scrolls Legends, doing only one video a week for Tessel now, I figured I really wanted to get on a one video a week schedule for Gwent, which had sort of decayed to every couple weeks. But I love Gwent. I want to be playing more of it. I want to get my rank back up too. I mean, let's not talk about that. But I have this deck that I've been playing, and I don't think it's lost yet. With the exception of one time where I was just not paying attention. I did something really dumb, but that was my fault, not the deck's fault. This is a Death's Shadow deck, kind of like the last one, except the Death's Shadow got reworked in the Merchants of Ophir set, and so with those patch notes, it's a little bit different now, and you kind of have to strategize a little bit different. One of the things I loved so much about the old Death's Shadow was that it could be oppressive in each of the rounds. Now it's a one-time use thing, but it's a little bit more powerful, so I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works and about this deck. This deck is, I call it Ghastly Vermin, because it's not all in on either of the rat archetypes or the kind of thriving consume archetype that has been done with the Kikimor Queen and stuff like that. It's actually kind of a blend between the new stuff and some of the older stuff and the traditional sort of consume combo packages. So I'm going to walk you through how this deck kind of wants to play, as well as the change to Death Shadow and how that should change your approach going forward. If you're new to Gwent, maybe if you're coming over from Elder Scrolls Legends, there are a lot of expensive cards in here, but this archetype is a lot of fun even without some of these rares, and I'll point out which ones are important and which ones you may not need, okay? So to start off, Death's Shadow got reworked. This is one of the leader abilities. The way it works now is you have one charge of it for the whole game. It destroys an allied monster unit and then spawns and plays a base copy of it. So there's a couple things to keep in mind with this. The destroy will trigger the Deathwish effect, which is the point of using it, is to destroy and make that Deathwish effect. But what's cool is that it then drops it down a fresh creature and plays it. So that will trigger thrive effects when you play it, as well as bringing out a fresh one that you can then consume again on the same turn if you have a creature like, let's say, the, the Desert Banshee. If the Desert Banshee is out already, and then you play something, consume it with Death's Shadow, it'll come down, you'll get the Deathwish, it'll resummon, and then you can consume it with this Banshee effect for using that Deathwish a second time. Pretty darn cool. But of course, it's only one round, so you'll want to use it strategically. I tend to use it a lot in round one to really secure a round one advantage. I think this deck is really good at winning round one, and I think it also kind of wants to win round one and then go and push round two, because it has a lot of high impact point slams to close out a short round three, or potentially even win round two. So, all right, let's start from the top here and show you guys the newest stuff. One, it's the Urn of Shadows. This is going to trade out for our tactical advantage, and basically it's the old Death's Embrace, but only works on bronze units. It's a little bit harder to pull off than I think I'd wish, but it's still a little bit better than Tactical Advantage in my humble opinion. One, because it's super cool, and darn it, I like playing cool things. But two, it can trigger the Death Wish on our Harpy Egg for 5 points on another creature, which is pretty cool. But that really evens out the Tactical Advantage, if we're being honest. However, it can also, for slightly less points, trigger the Death Wish on the Night Wraith. But why that's cool is there's a lot of effects that will deal random damage, and these rats are really good at soaking up the random damage from things like the Northern Realms Trebuchet, I think that's what it's called, and you know, like for instance, the Rot Fiend, right? This would damage a random enemy unit. Well, if I can get that to roll onto one of my rats, even better, because then it's only doing the 1 point instead of the 4. So that's kind of the idea with Urn of Shadows. Sometimes it is a little bit, I find it can be a little bit oppressive, and that people, I think, maybe overestimate it, at least at the rank I'm at. But I run into a fair amount of good players with good collections who just let their rank decay just like me. So frankly, I think people have been overestimating this just a touch, but it's really cool. And if you have it, you can play it, but you don't need it. Okay? Haunt. I think you don't need Haunt, but Haunt is really, really good. I don't know if I've lost a round in which I've played Haunt. At least not often. This card is incredible. This is one of the new scenarios. Every faction has one. The way it works is when you play it down, you get that first effect, which is to spawn a Desert Banshee. This guy is great because once he's down, he'll be able to start consuming things when you play future things, and it scales whenever you play a Deathwish ability, or play a unit with a Deathwish, so it's kind of got almost like a little bit of an engine effect there. I think it's a really great card, and also sets you up to then play a Deathwish, which you can then consume. Important to keep note, as soon as you play that first Deathwish, it goes off. It's not a choice. The scenario will progress. So when you play the next Deathwish, you'll get a Barghest. This is an important thing to note. The Desert Banshee will have an order consume. The Barghest has a deploy consume. So if you play one Deathwish, they're going to both be options to consume. You're always going to want to consume with the Barghest because it's on a deploy, but then it has an order dominance, which means it only works if you have the highest point creature, but that tends to happen a lot when you have consume effects. Consume an allied unit. Barghest is probably my favorite card from this new set. Even though like there's some really cool golds like Haunt, but Barghest is just amazing for this archetype. And then finally, when you play another Deathwish, it will spawn and play a Night Wraith, which is another creature to be consumed. So you just kind of want to pay attention when you're playing this about which ones are coming in which order, but it's really, really good, and I mean, in my opinion, worth the 14 provision cost. From there, we kind of have your sort of standard of fare. Yagaren is great to consume because of its armor effect. Sometimes, if you get, you got 4 or 5 cards left, it might be a genuine risk of its armor getting blown off by like an Alzur's Thunder. So you just go ahead and consume it and conserve those 13 points with no risk. Dettlaff is a great combo with Karen. I'll let you guys kind of figure out how that works. Cave Troll is incredible, but may not actually be necessary. I think it's one of the best cards to craft because Defender is really darn strong. But I think you could probably find other things to play if you don't have Cave Troll. It's just a very defensive card. You can play more proactive things if you want. And it has 7 points. Maruna is honestly what makes this deck worth playing alongside Imperial Manticore. I suppose you can play other variants of the Deathwish archetype, but these are the ones that make this deck in particular amazing. Maruna with Death Shadow on round 1 oftentimes will cause people to just straight pass. Okay, because you'll play the Maruna. If they lead with like some sort of 4 provision cost or lower card, you play Maruna, you use your Death Shadow, you steal their thing, and then Maruna comes back and is ready to consume with a Barghest. It's crazy and really strong. You can do the same thing with Imperial Manticore. If they're first player and they use their strategic advantage on it, you can play the Manticore, blow up their 8, 9 points, whatever, and then it'll be back and ready to blow up their next thing that they play. It's only the lowest enemy, so it's better earlier in the round than it is later. The only other thing I guess I'd point out, Whispering Hillock did get changed. You can play any Deathwish from your deck. It's a great tutor. And then Penitent, I really like. It's Thrive, but that's not really why it's great. As a Deathwish, it can summon a random 7 cost from your deck. So the only other 7 costs are the Manticora and the Pugo Boombreaker, both of which are excellent 7 provision cost units. A lot of times I'll just throw Pugo back with the intent of pulling it with Penitent, and when Pugo gets pulled by Penitent, its deploy does not go off, so it doesn't damage something of yours. Important to note, if you do have Pugo in your hand, you want to wait until you have some rats out or something like that. So it can hopefully roll onto that. From there, we have our bronze packages, which is a blending of some insects, the Endrega Warrior, Endrega Larva, and Endrega Eggs. And then we have also some Ghosty Boys with the Desert Banshee, the Barghest, which I've already talked about. Great freaking card. And the Night Wraith. We also are running the Harpy Eggs, which pair great with the Urn of Shadows and are just good point values. And one Rot Fiend, I found I didn't have quite enough interactivity with my opponent's board. I wanted another card that kind of worked like the Imperial Manticore or Maruna in case I didn't get it. So I have one Rot Fiend in here, and it's actually performed quite well. I know that was a little long-winded, guys, but it's a deck that I really love and have been getting really good at, so I kind of wanted to share how to play it in case you guys are newer and just checking out Gwent or just getting re-involved with Gwent after an absence. So that's it, guys. I do hope you enjoy Ghastly Vermin. If you do, be sure to like the video, show that support. You can also go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet. It's one of the best ways to support me as a content creator. So if you enjoy my content, it's totally free to just hit that subscribe button. Finally, if you guys have any thoughts or ideas for future content, if you have any questions about this list or others, go ahead and put them down in the comments below. I always read the comments, and I'm happy to respond, as well as, maybe if you guys give me a really cool idea, I might end up playing it on stream, so you never know. That's it, guys. I do hope you enjoy Ghastly Vermin and the game I'm about to attach. All right, here we go.
There is wickedness and there is punishment.
Interesting. All right, let's take a look. See if we're going first or second. We are going first, which is great because I want to use the Urn of Shadows. Pretty freaking awesome. I'm really excited to use it. Okay, so my opponent is also playing Death's Shadow, so we got a little bit of a mirror match here. Let's throw back one of our larvae. Let's see. We've got Maruna, which is amazing. I feel like we want to toss. Let's see. We've got 1 consume, 2 consume. We want to toss Pugo, and let's throw back one of our Night Wraiths. Okay, cool. We were hoping to grab like a Harpy Egg or something, but Rot Fiend is fine too. Let's drop the Desert Banshee so that we're ready to go with Maruna, and potentially get a little bit of scaling here. Let's see. Well, if they Maruna us, ooh, that's always a distinct risk. Maybe we just Endrag a larva and let them steal a larva if they want to play Maruna. I think that's the better play. We know the best play from us, so we want to play around the best play that they could have, since we're an approximate mirror. They could be running like a more like rat swarm package. We're kind of doing just a more value-generating Deathwish, kind of stealing the best from the Spectres, getting some insects and stuff like that, but they might be on a more kind of a swarmy game plan. So I'm just going to kind of wait and see. What we don't want is we don't want them really opening up with, like, oh my, that's Gale's. Oh boy. We don't have an answer for that. Oh, well, okay, we do. We do have an answer for that in the form of we could go and grab the Imperial Manticore and then consume it with Death's Shadow. Ooh. Because, I mean, we could do 4 damage to it. Yeah, I'm not liking that at all. I think we have to do... I mean, Gale's is so strong. All right, that's it. All right, we're doing it. We got to do it, right?
Trickery. Treachery.
Grab the Manticore. Put it up here. Consume. And put it back down. And thrive again, which is great. That's a pretty big turn there. We removed 5 of their points, and we brought 9 down of our own. Not too bad, not too bad. Keep in mind we can Rot Fiend with Urn. Plays a Whispering Hillock of their own, bringing out their Manticore. Okay. Oh, funny how that works, right? The question is, are they going to use the Death's Embrace on it? I hope they do. I don't know if I would. Okay, kills, sure. Great. I don't want to be critical, I just don't know if that was worth it. Go with a Barghest, consume it, kill theirs, right? I mean, they might just... Barghest has honestly become one of my favorite cards. So, it evens out. I suppose I could have gone for like the Night Wraith to put rats in front of basically what this guy would have killed. But then, of course, mine's getting less value too. I don't know. Armored Arrakis. Okay, cool. I think it's time we... I think we want the Desert Banshee now. Oh, don't really need to consume anything here. Rot Fiend's gonna get 4 damage. Oh, they've got a Rot Fiend. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think we go with the Night Wraith now to kind of detract from the Rot Fiend a bit. Or we could go with Maruna and steal the Rot Fiend. I mean, we're really committing there to winning round 1. But I think winning round 1 is really important in the mirror here. I mean, I think we can be smart and play around Maruna. Of our opponent's Maruna, that is. So I'm going to just drop this Maruna, and we're going to consume it. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get that value right now. We're not going to consume it, but we're going to go ahead and use our urn just before our opponent like passes early and we don't get a chance to, because darn it, I want to use that stupid urn. Plays a 1 power, copy the card in hand. Plays a 1 power Rot Fiend. It's not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and drop a Night Wraith, and we will go ahead and consume it to put extra rats down to screw up, hopefully screw up the Rot Fiend's targeting. It's another Rot Fiend. We could go with like the Barghest and consume this Rot Fiend, but the only issue is then we're targeting, potentially hitting their Rot Fiends, which potentially hit our other things, but have a higher chance of hitting our rats. It's also using our second Barghest. I mean, I could throw out another Rot Fiend of my own. We can just keep Rot Fiending, you know? I mean, right now, if these things die, it's more likely that they hit. And if I hit the... Yeah. So, okay, we just play this Rot Fiend here and then pass. If they want to start consuming their Rot Fiends, we're hoping they hit our rats, or these Rot Fiends, we don't want them to hit, obviously, our Banshee or our Barghest. But what can you do, right? It's a Catacan. Okay. Not really bothered by that too much. Let's go ahead and Barghest. And we could Gall yet. We're up by 12 points. I can assume my opponent... If my opponent plays down to... If my opponent goes down to 2 cards... And then... If my opponent can get 12 points with 1 round... We go into the next round, they'll be at 5 cards, and they'll be at 8 cards for the final round, and I'll be at 9, or also 8 cards. Really, oh gosh. That's the issue with going first, ain't it? Alright. Cool, we hit a really good one there. We didn't want to hit the Rot Fiend, but we also didn't really want to hit the Ekamara, so we hit the one with 4 damage there, so that's good. The thing was, like, any of the giants would have done it for him. Come on, hit a rat. Come on, hit a rat. Oh, darn it. And still, like, still right here, any of the giants do it for him. Alright, so we can go, like, consume and hope we hit, you know, not the Rot Fiends, or we can just pass. I'll still have last say if we pass here. And that would pull a giant out of their hand. I think I'm going to pass. Like, we want to pull a giant from their hand here. Karen? That's the chance of not doing it. Oh, you were supposed to hit one of my rats. That's what it was there for. Alright, there. Hits the rat. That's alright. We drew their Karen out. We kept our Karen. I'll take it. Gosh, if they'd hit 2 rats, we still would have had it. But, I mean, we're getting back to... So, because I'll have to play a card and we'll be even. And then, my opponent will still have last say, which is the sucky part. Okay. Pugo gets dished. Cave Troll. Oh, my. So we're playing the Desert Banshee out, but if they try to threaten us, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this hand. Our opponent's probably just going to pass. We play the Banshee, then we're even on cards, which sucks. But thus is the math of going first. At least we got to play our Urn of Shadows, you know. I was really hoping that they wouldn't have had a big enough play there. But really, both of their Rot Fiends, especially their first Rot Fiend, hitting not rats. That was the rough part. So we'll go ahead and pass. But I'm loving this hand here. If I can get Deathwish, oh boy. I mean, that's a classic combo, of course. Oh, we picked up Haunt, beautiful, and Draga, Warrior, solid, and the Night Wraith. Let's take a look. How many Deathwish? We don't count that. We have actually not a lot of things to consume, with the exception of the Haunt. And we have a couple things that consume. I think I'm going to ditch the Warrior. And the Larva. Okay. I was really hoping we'd get Whispering Hillock or Deathwish, but that's alright. That's alright. We're not gonna cry over spilt monster stuff. So if I play the Haunt now, I snag the Banshee. I'm good with that. Yeah. Both of us have used our leader abilities. You know what? Well, no. Okay. I was going to say it's possible we should have Night Wraithed first in case of a Maruna, but actually, the way it works, my opponent's Death Shadow isn't there, so they couldn't consume the Maruna immediately anyways. It's a Desert Banshee. Let's see. When I play a Deathwish, it'll spawn a Barghest, which we'd ideally want to consume the Harpy Eggs. So it'll be... yeah. Perfect. We're going to want to put our Cave Troll up here pretty soon. Because our big things that are going to get growing bigger, you know, this Deathwish here and whatnot, we want our Cave Troll to protect these big guys so they can't be targeted by things like Geralt and stuff like that. So, because obviously, like, these consumed creatures can get pretty big and be vulnerable to, like, tall removal. I don't see the reason to play Night Wraith right now, so we're just going to go Cave Troll. Just get that big defender down. Love this guy. Love him. Really good card. Obviously, Defender feels... honestly, Defender's really freaking strong. Like, it's not so bad for things like... I don't know, maybe like Northern Realms or things that can just, like, play a card and ping all the armor off and then, okay, you're good. But a lot of other things, it feels very difficult to manage. So I could just go ahead and play Yagaren and grab the Consume. Like, put it onto, say, the Banshee or something. I don't have to do it right now. I might want to wait out another card or two. If I play the Night Wraith, we go ahead and snag another Banshee. Okay.
The moon, how bright it shines.
I don't want to flood this row. But... let's see. I've got a lot of consumes coming up, so we're going to go ahead and use one of them here. Just going to take that. Because this row can be targeted, we're going to take that those points and put it behind our Cave Troll. Ciliano Harpy. Yeah, I get the feeling that they used a lot of their golds early, and we drew into a lot of our golds on this turn, so that's really good for us. Let's go ahead and go with... Obviously, we're never going to consume Goliath. We don't want them playing their highest unit from their deck. This will be our final play, and we'll put it behind the Cave Troll. So for now, we're just going to stick... in fact, we'll put Karen down here. This can fit another unit, right? Or maybe... No, we go Yagaren and go ahead and consume it early. Yeah. That's the thing with Yagaren, like you don't want it to die to armor. You want to preserve those points as best you can. So we're gonna go ahead and get it consumed on the Banshee. And again, we're protecting with Cave Troll and hoping for like, I don't know, like Geralt Igni isn't in play or something like that. Karen. Let's see, I need room. So we're going to go consume. Do I want to consume this Harpy? I do want to consume the Night Wraith. How much room is there? I think there's still room for one more. Alright, we'll pass here. I'm up 28 points. I mean, I'm liking my odds. It's an Ice Giant. Alright, we'll put down Goliath behind the Cave Troll. We'll go ahead and consume the Harpy. And we're passed. 71 points. There's like 2 cards that can answer this. And yeah, I didn't think so. Alright, whew! Let's go! Winning the mirror match. Some gutsy play by our opponent early on, but we were able to come back despite the first round first player disadvantage, and the math. We got our opponent to go down a card, but the way it works is for first player is even if your opponent goes down a card, they still get that last say. Regardless, though, hey. Got that W. Feels good, guys. I'll see you on the next Wednesday, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy this new set. I know I am.